May I introduce to the stage now Ashley Holloway from Penguin Random House, who's going to be talking about how they transformed their digital business across multiple titles and regions.
Thank you very much. First of all, also thank you for choosing publishing over retail. On the downside, this is actually a break from all the glamour and the excitement of superstar DJs and Adobe CC and Celebrity Later. This is a session where we talk all about pain, and in particular, it's kind of like a bit of a therapy session for me, to be honest. Where I'm going to take you through some of what's been going on at Penguin Random House and why. So that's me. I'm not quite sure how to describe what my job title is. It seems to be about trying to ensure that everyone plays nicely. And this is where we were in summary. So Penguin and Random House merged in July 2013, well, that's when it was announced. And of course, if I'd talked to you then about Random House, most people would have said who. If I'd talked to you about Penguin, you'd have all recognized Penguin. So two of the biggest, in fact, two of them, both of them were the two biggest global trade book publishers. And they came together. Naturally, it was wonderful things from the outset. Everybody got on. It was all seamless. And immediately, the day after the merger was announced, we had a beautiful new organization and a new brand. Well, not, obviously. So this is quite an understatement. What actually had to happen was that in coming together, there was a business case, as there always is involved with these things, with a group of very interested parties who owned the business. They had high expectations about how quickly we would become a new company, which meant principally that we would be extricating the entirety of Penguin's technology and other services from their previous parent company, Pearson's, into the new world of Penguin Random House. Very simple to say, and it's been obviously quite a challenge to execute. We're trying to merge at a time when obviously so much else is going on, and the digital world is changing. The world is changing by the second. And so one of the things that was obviously most important for us was to be able to make that merger happen, but at the same time, keep going. Across the business, we had a huge number of fantastic marketing teams, a brilliant central digital team, an incredible technology team, and of course, a whole group of incredibly passionate and skilled publishers. And what we wanted to do was we needed to keep all those people happy. We had to ensure they're all engaged. We had to ensure that a collective group of interested people were supported through the process. And above all, obviously, ensure that at no point did we impact the most precious thing in our world, which is the author relationship. So for those of you who don't know, we publish around about 3,000 titles a year. We publish authors like Dan Brown, Terry Pratchett, all the way through to greats such as The Dinosaur That Pooped Christmas, which I'm sure many of you will have on your shelves. One of the reoccurring themes throughout this merger and the transformation that's been going on, which we're still bang in the middle of. I suspect the middle of this transformation will last another 3 years. One of the things has been a common language, and when one of us mentions the word digital, somebody else elsewhere in the organization has a completely different view on what digital means. Similarly, when we talk about customer, who are our customers? So for us, customers, as a business, as a publishing business, customers are our retailers, Amazon, Waterstones, and so on. Readers are our consumers, and who are our authors? Well, they're kind of customers as well, because we provide services to them and so on. And we would get ourselves quite frequently tied up in these conversations about interpreting and defining what we meant by a certain title, a certain grouping, just in order to ensure we're all on the same page and all heading in the same direction. Protecting our author relationship was essential. And why? Well, the part of the merger I'm going to focus on today is around our web presence. Now, individually, so we're a publishing house, and within that publishing house, it has different divisions. Some of those are publishing divisions, and within a publishing division, it might have an imprint, and that imprint will be publishing books and managing relationships directly with an author. And traditionally, those imprints and those publishing divisions would go out and they would talk to different agencies and get a website built. or they develop a Facebook campaign, or they get a mobile app put together. And they would more often than not, do so quite independently. And not so in the Brave New World, because in part of the Brave New World, what we were trying to do is, within a merged Penguin Random House, is start to unite everyone around the single brand of Penguin, which is probably the most powerful, one of the most powerful custom brands in publishing. So we all had that idea that we knew we wanted to go in that direction, and slowly but surely we had to start to bring all these individual marketing teams and digital groups and thinkers together and to work with us in that way. We had about, and we still have, somewhere in the region of 300 odd different websites in the UK, probably more that we don't know about, 15 different content management systems at least. And of all of those, maybe 2 that actually had contracts with someone that you could then, if you wanted to try and take it down or replace it or fix it or whatever. The desire for a lot of us to work in a more agile way, and the needs of the business to operate and report in its own way and manage risk in particular in its own way. But what we were able to do with this exit phase was get a number of key sites, including penguin.co.uk and Puffin and Ladybird, onto a new platform, the Adobe platform, mirroring pretty much the sites that were out there from a consumer experience, from a reader experience, site visitor experience, not an awful lot of difference, but internally, in terms of what the business could do with those sites and how they could manage them using the Adobe platform, it was transformational, and that has helped us hugely now in terms of planning and getting support in for the next phase of what we're doing. So I think this is where we are now. We're well on the way to completing this phase of the work. There are, of course, surprises every week in these kinds of projects. There always are. But the key, again, has been behind this part in particular. Technology works, we know that. It's about the team, and it's been about what we call that blended set of skills and how we get them working together. And the number of people in our project team that we first envisaged was about 9 or 10. It's grown to about 22, 23. The vast majority of those, as I've said earlier, are actually around business change, content management, and design in ways that we never really thought that we would have. We also have a new and accepted concept now of product owners within the business and within marketing and digital, which is also, again, learning for us. But the learnings are generally positive, and they're spreading the thinking elsewhere. So for the very first time, we ran effectively a hackathon a few weeks ago with one of the publishing teams. We took a section of part of our canteen, and barriered it, and put a load of kit in it, and just brought a team from all over the business together to build a new app, basically, which they did, and worked really well. And we're now kind of just digesting what our lessons learned from that are, and how we're going to repeat that process and try and embed some of that thinking. But above all, what it acted as a marketing exercise internally for staff and for leadership and so on, who could come down and see it happening, see how well people could work together, and the amazing ideas you could generate by bringing people from across the business into one space. So the idea is pretty much, ultimately, to have everything that is Penguin Random House coming through a single Penguin website. And do keep in mind to look out for the site when it launches at the back end of the year, and look for what we've done with author pages, how we've treated children's very differently and looked at worlds and the world of the children's characters versus the authors. The digital and marketing teams have done, and design and development agencies have done an incredible job with it. As always, what you think is going to happen at the beginning is very different to what actually happens at the end. And I think we're hugely proud of it, and I'm sure you'll really like it if you visit it. So after that, kind of obvious stuff really, but we do have to start thinking, what is our plan to decommission loads of those websites, bring them into the fold? I think one of the things that we've really had to work on quite closely quite carefully is the fact that an author, a publisher, feels a very personal relationship with a website, with their website. No matter how crappy the experience might be. Yeah? It's actually their site. So if we then say, well, actually your site is going to go, but you're going to have a page in the main site, that doesn't seem as important or as big and as much as important as they would need it to be. So we have to explain and educate on what digital means, why in fact that means actually more people will come to the site, they'll be able to have more information, they'll be able to absorb more content about their favorite authors and so on. And data is critical. I don't think this project would be half as successful as it was, and in fact going forward it definitely won't be if it wasn't going step by step of the way in line with our own business intelligence program, which is doing an awful lot of the dry, boring data work that we need. And alongside the idea of product owners, obviously we have kind of data stewards and people like that, who again, as a concept, just didn't really exist before. So a huge amount of change for the organization. That balance that has been really tricky between keeping going, keeping on putting on publishing books, keeping on putting out spectacular marketing campaigns, and at the same time driving this huge amount of change forward for the business. 3 lessons. Of course, you can eat a steak with chopsticks. You just chop it up first, don't you? But the point is, they don't work well together, no matter what anyone tries to say or wants to say. And we keep getting shot by this, and we keep saying we're not going to do it this way anymore. But we are working with a whole bunch of people like Cognifide and design agencies and our developers and all the people who brought into our digital team, who are very used to working in an agile way and thinking in that way, with an organization, our technology organization, our finance organization, who are very used to working in a completely different way. For them, it's all about risk. For the digital guys, it's all about opportunity. Bringing that together, making that work is a constant dialogue, discussion, and compromise. But bit by bit, we'll get there. What we haven't done is say we will form a little team who will be a special digital team. They will sit off in a corner. They will have meeting rooms with the name of Marmalade and something else, and they will all play together with beanbags and come out with great digital product, and it will be fine and lovely as long as it doesn't touch the rest of the business. And I think the reason we have pain is because what we're trying to do is work as closely as we can with the rest of the business to make this stuff happen. Talked about content being king. The reason I've said that is actually around content ownership. Yes, of course, content is incredibly important. I mean, we publish books. It's kind of, we're all about content, really. But as we've tried to look at what is digital content, who owns that content, who has an interest and a responsibility in the right content being created, approved, going up, it's just opened up we've discovered a myriad of interested parties throughout the business. And again, coordinating those has been crucial. It's a lesson because we didn't set out to do it. We only realized we should have been doing it down the line. And my favorite one was one of the design agencies we're working with was saying, we will design it. Just do not constrain us with budget, timeline, yeah, or technology. Thank you very much. So that has been a ball, as you can imagine. The designs are great. So those are kind of 3 lessons for us. I'm not sure that's not really a lesson, is it? It's just a moan, but there you go. So that's really it from me. Thank you very much for listening. The one other thing I have promised that I would share with you is that if you go to the Cognifide stand, say hello, and then I think they'll scan your badge for you. You can win an Apple Watch, but don't forget to say hello. Thank you very much.